Claire and this is Stitch Hem Sew. Thank you so much for joining me today for another video. Today's video is a Friday Sews video. Friday Sews was created by the lovely Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room, and it's just a great way of bringing the community together. If you do want to search under the hashtag Friday Sews, you will find an absolute bevy of other lovely YouTubers who are all making videos and posting under that hashtag. The idea is that it's a little bit of sewing that you've been up to, some plans, a little bit of life thrown in. So if that interests you, please stick around with me today. So before I get started, I'd really just like to say a massive thank you to everybody that's been watching my previous videos and all those lovely people that have subscribed to my videos. I really do appreciate it. It really does mean the world to me. I've now reached over that milestone mark that I wanted to reach of 1,000 subscribers, so I really do appreciate it if you've clicked that subscribe button, but don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you get notified of future videos as well. If you do like today's video, I really do appreciate it if you give me a like, and if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. That would be fantastic. And do drop me a comment as well. I love talking to people in the comments. I always try to respond to everybody, so please do drop me a comment and tell me what you've been up to and what you've been sewing and things. Another thing I really love to see is where people are watching from. So yeah, if you do drop me a comment, just say where you're from as well. That would be fantastic. Before I get started showing you what I've been up to this week, I just wanted to remind everybody about the challenge Selfless Sew April 22 that's being run by the lovely Crystal, who is my social thread, Adele for Serenity, and I've also come on board as well, and I'm at Stitch Hem Sew. So the idea is that you sew something for somebody else, and the closing date for that is the 30th of April, so you've just about got time to squeeze in a selfless sew for somebody else. It doesn't have to be a garment, it could be an accessory, it could be something for your pet. So I reckon you've just about got time to squeeze in another make if you haven't already done so. And just post your makes using the hashtag Selfless Sew April 22 on the 30th of April, and do pop down there who your items for, what category you're looking at entering it into, and obviously things like your what pattern you've used in the fabric and things, and whereabouts in the world you are posting from, just so that we can help in terms of prize distribution. In terms of prizes, there are an absolute bevy of prizes. I think there's about 50 odd sponsors for this particular challenge, and so you are really in a good shot of winning a lovely prize. So do take part in that. I'm going to pop all the details up on the screen. As I say, there are a few different categories. There's adult wear, there's children in terms of sort of baby range up to 2 plus, pet wear and accessories, and there's a number of prizes will be kind of allocated to those particular categories, and then a number will just be randomly selected, so everybody is in a chance of winning a great prize. So yeah, do join in, do take part, that would be fantastic. So let's get stuck into the sewing, shall we? Now, the first item that I wanted to talk to you today is about the top that I'm wearing. This one I've actually finished last night after I finished watching the Sewing Bee that is over here in the UK. I won't go on about it too much because I know that a number of you won't be able to watch it if you're from maybe the US and things, so I won't go on about it too much. But I finished sewing this one up last night. The only thing I haven't quite done yet, and I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to or not, is I haven't done any top stitching around the neckband. Now, this top is the Made It Patterns Hug Hoodie, but obviously I've done it without the hood. It's got this lovely crossover hem band at the front, and I'm going to pop some pictures up of me wearing it as well. And I'm just going to grab the pattern here. You will see it's got this lovely sort of crossover detail on the hem band there, and obviously the main option really is to do it with the hood, but I decided that I didn't want to do the hood on this particular version. So I've just gone with the crew neck option, which is this one here. This is the front and this is the back. The back is slightly longer at the back than the front, and I have added 2 inches to the length of the body of this particular jumper. I think it would have come up a little bit too cropped on me. I'm about 5'8", 5'9", and yeah, I'm really glad that I added those 2 inches. I actually got in contact with the lovely Rachel from the French Seams, who I knew had made this a couple of times before, and she's around about the same sort of height as me, I believe. So I sent her a little message on Instagram and said, I hope you don't mind me asking, but how many inches did you add to the body? She said 2 inches. So I held the pattern pieces up sort of to my body, roughly kind of where I thought they would come to, and I decided that yes, 2 inches seemed the appropriate amount. I also asked her about whether she lengthened the sleeves. She said that she hadn't needed to, so I haven't lengthened the sleeves either. And as you will see, they're actually quite long on me, and I've got, you know, obviously I've got longer arms, so if you are a little bit shorter than me, you might decide that you want to actually shorten the sleeves if you were to go along with this one yourself, because you might find them a bit long, because even on me they're you know, they are quite long. This is a really great pattern in terms of instructions. It was so easy to sew up. I was a little bit unsure about whether the sort of crossover detail would show whether that would be really complicated or not, but actually the instructions were so good, so clear, I had nothing to worry about that at all. I've just dropped my pattern, excuse me. My only criticism really of this pattern is that the size range is not particularly extensive. They say that it goes from a 31 bust chest measurement up to a 44 inch chest measurement. Now I made the largest size. It does have quite a lot of ease in, actually. I probably could have afforded to have gone down a size. I could have gone down to what they're classing as a size 18. So yeah, there is a reasonable amount of ease in that. I have a 43, 44 inch bust, and yeah, I think I probably could have afforded to have gone down a size if I wanted to, but I'm pretty happy with the overall fit of this one, so that just kind of gives you an idea in terms of measurements. Would I make this again? Absolutely, I would definitely make this again. I really like it. I've used a French terry fabric, so that's a bit more lightweight for the spring summer months, with a reasonably good matching cuffing fabric. I bought both of these from Pound Fabrics. They've obviously I've done a pre-wash on them and they washed really beautifully. I wore this to work today with some smart sort of work trousers. I wouldn't normally wear a sweatshirt type to work, but I finished this off last night. I just loved it, and I put it on a hanger and I put it in the wardrobe, and what I tend to do is I put the things that I've just made on the inside of sort of my wardrobe door. And so when I opened the wardrobe this morning and decided what to wear, it was just there, and I was just like, I can't not wear it. So I wore it to work, and I got so many compliments from people about the top, and people were amazed that I'd made it myself. I'm starting to get a little bit more brave telling people that I've made things myself, and a couple of people at work had watched a sewing bee last night, and so that aren't sewers particularly, but they couldn't believe that I had managed to sew up clothes. I think it kind of baffles people that aren't sewers, doesn't it? So that was really lovely. Yeah, some really lovely comments, so that was really a real boost. The other thing that I made this week was the Sagebrush top from Friday Pattern Company. And now I spoke about wanting to sew this up last week. I'd actually wanted to sew it up the week before, but it just hadn't quite come together. And so here is my version. I've used a cotton fabric with this white background with the green feathers with sort of pink accents and black on. It's got the gorgeous sort of ruffle detail and these great big puffy sleeves on. I'm going to pop some pictures in of me wearing it. Now, these sleeves are quite puffy for me, and I did probably take maybe 1.5 centimetres out of the puff, just because I didn't have quite enough fabric in terms of laying the piece across the way I'd laid it out on the fabric. I probably could have done it. I had 1.5 metres of this fabric, and had I been a little bit better at pattern Tetris on the day that I cut it out, I probably didn't need to take off that 1.5 inches. However, if I'm honest with you, if I was to make this top again out of a cotton fabric, I think I possibly might sort of pinch another sort of inch out of the sleeve, because it's just, in a cotton fabric, it's just a little bit too poofy on the sleeves for my liking on me. But I still really like it, and I will definitely wear it. As I say, I'm going to pop some pictures in of me wearing it. I think the idea with the pattern is that you turn it up at the hem by 1 inch, no, 2 inches, and then 2 inches again. It creates this sort of quite large hem band. However, I hadn't lengthened the pattern, so I've just turned it up by 1 inch and then 1 inch again at the bottom, and that's turned out quite well. I think if I made this again, I would like to sort of slightly grade the pattern out towards the hips. I don't think I did that on this particular version. I don't really know why, because I generally do grade out at the sort of from the waist to hip area, or sort of starting a little bit higher than the waist, making it a little bit wider at the waist, and then down to the hip area. So I don't really know why I didn't do it on this particular pattern. Obviously I decided that I didn't need to, but it feels a little bit more snug than I would like it to be. I could possibly go up a whole another size next time, and I'm not quite sure what size I made, so I'm going to pop those details across the screen. What I do love about Friday Pattern Company is their instructions are fantastic, their size range is great, and you know, really inclusive in terms of sizing, so that is absolutely fantastic. And as I say, the instructions are brilliant. It's got a lovely sort of back yoke detail, and then with this sort of keyhole type detail with this tie, and you use sort of bias binding to finish off the neckline, and that goes right round into this tie detail at the back, which is really nice. And obviously you just make the bias binding out of the fabric. Now again, the way I had popped the bits out on the pattern pieces, out on the fabric, meant that the bias binding piece that they show you to make is one big long bit, and there was no way I could fit that on the bias onto my piece of fabric. So what I did is I actually cut the piece and cut it as 2 pieces. But then when I came to think about that in terms of actually using it, I thought, well, that's not really going to work, because I was going to end up with like a centre seam on my bias binding here. So what I did is I took one of the pieces that I'd cut, I'd cut that bit in half. I took one of those bits and cut that in half again. And so I'd put the longer bit that I now had in the middle, and then the 2 smaller bits either end, so that the joins would come sort of round by the neck bit. And I don't know how well you can see, but I've got just a little join just here and just here on the just by the neck opening there. But because of the you know, doing out the tie of the fabric and the bow being in the way, you don't notice that, so that's worked out quite well. It was, because this is a cotton fabric, it was beautiful to sew because it's just so stable, and every time I sew with cotton for a garment, it makes me think, oh, I want to sew more with cotton fabric, because it's just so lovely. It sews right, it stays where it should, it presses so beautifully, and it's just so easy to sew with. When I started sewing garments rather than sort of accessories and various other things that I'd been sewing for some time, I very quickly jumped into making jersey makes, because I got an overlocker sort of reasonably quickly, and I just sort of loved making those things. And then I sewed quite a lot of viscoses, and so bizarrely it's only been fairly recently that I've made a few more items out of cotton, and so, you know, I've done things sort of backed around to other people in terms of sewing garments. Most people start off by sewing things with cotton. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying sewing the odd item here and there in a cotton fabric, because it just sews up so nicely. So yeah, overall really pleased with this pattern. As I say, a couple of tweaks that I'd make in terms of sizing, and possibly if I was sewing it up again in a cotton fabric, I might just sort of reduce the width of the sleeve a little bit, just to reduce that puff. However, if I was sewing this in a viscose, I probably wouldn't bother, because it would just drape more. But it's just something to think about if you haven't sewn this particular pattern and you're interested in. So that's all I've done this week in terms of sewing. No selfless sew makes, I'm afraid, all selfish ones. But I have bought one piece of fabric, just one, and then I've been thinking about me May and what I'm going to do in terms of sewing for the next period, if you like. So I'll quickly show you the piece of fabric that I've bought. Now I've got 2 meters of this fabric. It's a sort of quite dark navy colour fabric, and it's got a very sort of small sort of stripy, not stripy, I don't know, crisscrossness on it. It's not a very good description, is it? And it's got sort of a reasonable amount of drape to this fabric. I picked this up as a remnant piece, and I'm hoping to make some trousers out of it for summer. It's because it's quite lightweight, but I think it would be quite good for a pair of work trousers. So I think they'll be okay as that. I don't think they're sort of too sort of see-through, but I will need to, I can kind of, if I hold it up, I can see some light through it. So yeah, I think it will be okay as some trousers. And the ones that I'm thinking of making is the Tilly pattern in her most recent book, the Sphere trousers. A wide leg trouser. I probably will make them sort of full length rather than a crop or an ankle length, because I want to wear them for work. And I'll probably add a little bit of extra height or length, if you like, to the rise of the pattern, just to make them a little bit more what do you call it, high-waisted. Oh my goodness, words are hard. And yeah, I'll probably make them a little bit more high-waisted than they are when I have made them. I've made them once before as more of a kind of a loungewear pyjama-y type style trouser, and yeah, they came up sort of more of a mid-rise on me, and I think I'd quite like them as a high-waisted pair of trousers, so I think that would be quite good. However, I'm not married to that idea, so if anybody has got any other pattern suggestions for an easy wear, easy to make, no major fit scenarios going on, because I don't have, I'm not really in the mood for really delving into fit issues on trousers with this particular make. So yes, a nice easy pattern suggestion would be fantastic. So the other thing I thought I would just talk about is Me Made May. Now, you've probably all heard of Me Made May. It's something that's been running for a good number of years and was started by Sozo blog. And the idea is it's a sort of a personal challenge. It's not like a competition, there are no prizes attached to it. It's just a personal challenge in terms of sort of getting you familiar with your Me Made wardrobe, maybe revisiting things in your wardrobe that maybe have got pushed to the back and you're not wearing, thinking about why you're not wearing them, or maybe you've got certain holes in your Me Made wardrobe that you want to see what you think you need to make. The idea is that it's a personal challenge to yourself. You don't have to post about it on Instagram, but you can do if you want to. It's just a sort of a challenge to yourself to get in touch with your Me Made wardrobe, if you like. So I took part in this last year, and I think my pledge last year was to try and wear something Me Made every day, which I think I just about managed, although there obviously were some repeats. At that point, I think May last year it wasn't boiling, but it wasn't freezing, so most of the things that I had in my wardrobe were okay to wear. So yeah, I think the idea for this May again is to try and wear something Me Made every day, hopefully to wear something different each day, but I can't necessarily guarantee that. But if I am re-wearing certain things, look at why I'm reaching for those items more. Is it because it's an item that I compare with lots of other things, and so that's why I'm always reaching for it? Just to sort of really kind of think about any makes that I want to wear, things that I'm not perhaps reaching for. I have really recently done a bit of a wardrobe clear out, and I got rid of a lot of my ready to wear clothes that I just wasn't reaching for at all and hadn't reached for some time. So that's cleared up a little bit of space in my wardrobe and given me some free hangers. When I say it's cleared up some space, there isn't really any significant extra space. It's just that everything isn't quite so absolutely crammed in as it was before. It's not because I've got an absolutely extensive wardrobe, because I don't actually have a particularly huge wardrobe at all in terms of the physical space, which I share it with my husband, who likes to claim that I've got more space than him, but is absolutely not true. We've got equal amount of space. There's like a thing in the middle of the wardrobe, you know, where it's sort of attached to, and so therefore there's no way that I take up more space than him, because it's right slap bang in the middle. So yeah, the idea for me is just to try to wear Me Made every day and think about, if I am re-wearing certain items, why I'm re-wearing certain items, and do I need to make more of that certain item so that I can marry things up a little bit more, and just go from there really. So I will try to post on Instagram. It won't necessarily be every day, but I will certainly be posting some of my Me Mades throughout Me Made May. If you are taking part in Me Made May as well, I'd love to hear about what you think you'll be doing for Me Made May, and let me know your Instagram handles as well, so that I can, if you are thinking about posting pictures, so that I can follow along with you too. That would be fantastic. So in terms of plans, I haven't really formulated anything that I want to sew. this week. Other than that, I've got a gift that I need to finish off. So I think what I'm going to do is have a think about it over the next couple of days, put together maybe a plans video for May, and so I can really sort of think about and map out what some makes that I definitely want to sew up this month. I think maybe I'd like to sew maybe a dress, and I'm doing a collaboration project with the lovely Marissa from the Umbrian Sewist, and so that will also be sort of towards the end of May, so that is something I definitely know I will be doing. But as I say, no sort of firm plans, so I will definitely look to put some plans down on paper and then talk to you guys about it. And then obviously I'll be updating about how things are going through my Friday sews each week. So folks, I think that's probably all from me today. I hope you've had a fantastic week and you've managed to squeeze in some sewing. If you have liked today's video, I'd love it if you could hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. And until next week, take care. Happy sewing. Bye bye.